The day my husband introduced his 24-year-old assistant as the woman who actually understands him. I smiled. Not because I was okay, not because I had accepted it, but because sitting in my purse was a document that would destroy everything he thought he owned. And he had absolutely no idea. If you've ever been betrayed by someone who thought they'd never face consequences, this story is for you. Welcome back to the channel. Today's story is about betrayal, humiliation, revenge, and a comeback nobody saw coming. Let's begin. My name is Olivia Carter. At 36, I thought I had everything. A successful husband, a beautiful home, a stable marriage. At least that's what everyone believed. For 12 years, I supported my husband Jason while he climbed the corporate ladder. I worked from home, managed the household, handled every responsibility. Meanwhile, Jason built a reputation as a rising executive. People praised him constantly. What they didn't know was that every presentation he gave had been reviewed by me. Every major business proposal had my fingerprints on it. Every promotion he received was partly because of my help. But nobody ever knew. And Jason never corrected them. At first, I didn't mind. I loved him. I wanted him to succeed. Then everything changed. One evening, he came home smiling at his phone. A smile I hadn't seen in years. The moment he noticed me watching, he locked the screen. That was the first warning sign. I ignored it. Big mistake. What I discovered 3 weeks later would completely destroy my marriage. But it would also become the reason I eventually destroyed his career. Jason started working late. Business trips increased. Phone calls moved outside. Passwords changed. The evidence was obvious. But I still hoped I was wrong. Then one Friday afternoon, I received a message. A picture. Jason, holding another woman's hand, entering a hotel. Attached was a short message. Thought you deserved to know. My entire world froze. I stared at the image for almost an hour. Part of me wanted to scream. Another part wanted answers. So I followed him. The next week, the same hotel, the same woman. Only this time I saw everything myself. The woman wasn't a stranger. She was Emily, his assistant, 24 years old, ambitious, confident, and apparently convinced she was replacing me. That night, Jason came home pretending nothing happened. I served dinner, smiled, and said absolutely nothing. Because for the first time, I was planning, not reacting. Most people think revenge starts with anger. Mine started with silence. And Jason mistook that silence for weakness. 2 months later, Jason finally stopped pretending. He sat me down, crossed his arms, and said words I'll never forget. Olivia, I think we've outgrown each other. Outgrown. As if 12 years meant nothing. As if betrayal was personal growth. Then came the real reason. I'm in love with Emily. The room became silent. He expected tears, begging, drama. Instead, I asked one question. Is that your final decision? He smiled. Yes. That smile would later cost him everything. 3 weeks later, he filed for divorce. Friends chose sides. Most chose his. After all, he was successful. I was just a housewife. At least that's what they thought. What nobody knew, including Jason, was that I had spent years building something in secret. Something that would completely change the game. Years before the divorce, I had started consulting online. Quietly, anonymously, helping small businesses solve operational problems. My strategies worked.
Clients multiplied.
Income grew. Investments followed. By the time Jason left, I wasn't dependent on him. Not even close. I was wealthy. Very wealthy. But I never advertised it. After the divorce finalized, I disappeared.
No arguments.
No social media posts. No public drama. For 3 years, I worked, expanded,
Invested.
built companies, bought companies, and eventually founded a private investment group. The same people who once pitted me couldn't believe the transformation. Meanwhile, Jason and Emily enjoyed their victory, at least for a while. Because while my life kept improving, Jason's was about to enter freefall. The company Jason worked for began struggling. Bad leadership, poor decisions, declining profits. Rumors spread about layoffs. Executives panicked. Investors became nervous. Then my investment group received an opportunity. Acquire controlling interest. The company was worth hundreds of millions. And I bought it. Quietly.
No announcements. No interviews. No publicity.
Jason had no idea who the new owner was. Neither did Emily. The board scheduled a major meeting. Attendance mandatory. That's where everything changed. What Jason never realized was that Emily was not just his assistant. She was placed there for a reason. Not by chance, not by fate, but by me. The night I discovered their affair, I didn't just leave quietly. I made one phone call to a consulting firm Jason trusted during his career growth. And I recommended her. Emily.
Bright.
Ambitious. Perfect for the role. Jason thought he chose her. He believed it was his decision. But the truth is, I guided every step of her entry into his life. Even their first meeting wasn't accidental. It was arranged. And Jason never once looked behind the curtain. 3 years after humiliating me, Jason walked into a room expecting another promotion. Instead, he found me. The conference room fell silent. Jason froze. Emily nearly dropped her folder. Neither could believe what they were seeing. I stood at the front, confident,
Calm.
successful, the same woman they once dismissed. Only now I owned the company. Jason's face turned pale. Olivia? I smiled. Good morning. The board members looked confused. I wasn't. I had imagined this moment many times. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I wanted closure. The meeting continued. Financial reports, restructuring plans, leadership evaluations. Then came Jason's department. The numbers were terrible. The failures undeniable. No excuses remained. The next words I said would become the moment Jason finally understood what he had lost. I addressed the board.
Calmly.
Professionally.
No emotion. No anger.
Just facts. The recommendation was simple. Leadership changes, including Jason. The vote passed unanimously. Jason was terminated, not because of our history, because of performance. The irony was perfect. The man who once believed I needed him now needed a job. Emily resigned shortly afterward. Their relationship collapsed within months. Without the excitement of betrayal, there wasn't much left. But the real ending wasn't about Jason losing. It was about what happened when he came back one final time. 6 months later, Jason requested a meeting. I agreed. He looked older, tired, defeated. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Then he spoke. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I believed him, not because he loved me, but because he finally understood my value. The value he ignored for 12 years. The value he traded for temporary excitement. The value he only appreciated after it was gone. He asked for another chance. I smiled, the same smile from years ago, and said no. Not angrily, not dramatically, just confidently. Because some doors close forever. And that's okay. Jason left. I never saw him again. But I learned something important. The best revenge isn't making someone suffer. The best revenge is becoming someone they can never reach again. Someone stronger. Someone wiser. Someone who no longer needs their approval. And that is exactly what I became. If this story kept you watching until the end, let us know in the comments. What was Jason's biggest mistake? And if you enjoy stories about betrayal, revenge, and powerful comebacks, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who loves dramatic endings. We'll see you in the next story.